such a great welcoming community and everybody's willing to talk to you. It's a good way to
Yeah,
get
it
yourself
is.
out there.
It is a nice community, and the longer you're in the community, the more people you get to know.
Yeah.
I've heard it said you can't have too big an ego when you spend a lot of your time standing in cow poop. Okay, and it's
So
true.
true.
It's so true, right? You just gotta check the ego at the door. Hello, and welcome to this special episode of Dairy Digressions, the podcast of the American Dairy Science Association, the Journal of Dairy Science, and JDS Communications. I'm Matt Lucy, former editor-in-chief of the Journal of Dairy Science and former editor-in-chief of JDS Communications and fellow of the American Dairy Science Association. I'll be your host. Dairy Digressions is where we take an inside look at the science and scientists that are making headlines both inside and outside the dairy industry. We explore cutting-edge research that creates knowledge and drives innovation in the production and processing of milk for human consumption. Mark your calendars. The 2026 ADSA Annual Meeting is happening June 21st through 24th in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And the abstracts submissions not only showcase your work to the global dairy science community, but also become part of the literature as a supplement to the Journal of Dairy Science. Today, we are talking with some of the winners of our graduate student and undergraduate student paper competitions. The ADSA has competitions for oral presentations and poster presentations, and these are for our grad students and undergraduates, and they are held both in the dairy foods as well as the production division of ADSA. There's also a 3-minute thesis challenge. This event will test the competitors' ability to convey their research in a way that is compelling and understandable to all in 3 minutes or less. Welcome, contest winners. We have with us today Mitchell Armstrong.
Correct.
From University of Wisconsin, Madison. Welcome, Mitchell.
Thank you.
Brooke Seelenbinder, formerly of Michigan State University, left there because of the very poor football performance there. Now at UC, so she went to UC Davis, where she's a DVM PhD student. Welcome, Brooke.
Thank you for having me.
Tessa Tauke, who is our president of the Graduate Student Division of the American Dairy Science Association.
Undergraduate.
The undergraduate.
Not quite there yet.
Not quite there yet. Okay, so you have a little bit more. How many credits do you have?
I graduate next May, but...
In May. Okay, taking all the... got your senioritis work through yet or not?
Yeah, it's coming in pretty strong, I would say.
I see you're a pre-vet person. And finally, Savitha Saikumar. How close was I on that first name?
Yeah, pretty good. It's Savitha Saikumar.
Oh yeah, I love the accent there. That's so awesome. And she's from the university. She's from the University of Florida, and so I'm a Florida grad. But the Florida team is bad as all. I think they're bad this year too. Okay, we have managed to bring on board 4 people, all of whom are represented. Well, I don't know about Iowa State. What's Iowa State football doing, Tessa?
We started out really good and really started to go downhill pretty quickly.
Okay, so this is not good. We will not talk about football during the podcast, okay? At this point, the editors are going, well, we're going to delete all that. But anyways, here we go. So I don't know where to start. Mitchell seems like the oldest person here. So we're going to start with you, Mitchell. And I know you're a dairy foods person. I saw that in your abstract. And what was sort of interesting, you're at the University of Wisconsin, Madison. And so what we're going to do is kind of go around the horn here, and we're going to talk, just kind of discuss just briefly what your research was, and just we're going to go just a few sentences. I know that, and then that way, then we'll dive into some of the other questions. How's that? And we'll kind of go by age. Okay. Mitchell, I think you're the oldest, because I saw in your bio that you're a lieutenant in the Army National Guard. So you've got to be the oldest.
For the record, I'm 26 years old.
Okay, anybody at Tessa? You look a little older than that. What's the story now?
I'm 21.
Oh, okay. You're safe. Okay. 26. I think you take the, I think you're okay. Okay. So tell me, Mitchell, so you're the foods person here, and you won the graduate student paper presentation in dairy foods research, which is actually, that's a pretty heavy lift. That must have been a lot of people in that division, in that contest.
Yeah, I think there was something like 15 to 25 people. I'm not exactly sure the numbers, but it was definitely a competitive contest.
And you were
It was
handing
pretty
out
cool.
ice cream ahead of it to the judges, or how did that all work? How do you win with all those competitors?
Sometimes I wish my research was with something tasty, but I can't quite go and bribe the judges with my research topic, which is whey protein phospholipid concentrate.
I
Doesn't roll off the
know.
tongue quite as well as ice cream does.
You got to have a PhD to understand what a whey protein phospholipid concentrate is in the first place,
Yeah.
don't you?
And the best part is in the industry, there's like 4 or 5 different names. I've heard Mother Liquor, Pro Cream, WPPC, or just whey protein isolate retentate. And all the industry people kind of use different words. So when you talk to them, it's like, are we talking about the same thing right now?
Right.
But whey protein phospholipid concentrate is kind of the technical term that I find used most in the field.
And so for those, can you just explain? So whey protein for a long time was sort of almost a useless byproduct of the dairy cheese industry, I thought, for some time. And then now it's taken on this new world as a valuable byproduct in cheese production. Am I correct in all that?
Yeah, so I think you can go back in time 30, 40 years, and cheese production was getting big, more industrialized, and with that, we had an increase in whey, so the primary byproduct from the production of cheese. And at the time, it was spread over farm fields, sometimes fed back to cows for a source of nutrition, but it became more and more of an environmental impact and a strain on the companies to dispose of it properly.
Yeah.
And so they were like, hey, there's a lot of stuff still in whey. How can we try to pull things out? And so the quest to valorize or increase the value of these dairy byproducts like whey started kind of back in the 1970s when filtration technology came around. And so we started turning whey powder or whey from cheese making into whey protein isolate, like the bodybuilder powder that everybody likes.
Not
That's
working
kind of the
for me
origin
though,
of it.
Mitchell. I mean,
Well, maybe a little WPBC might be the move.
I gotta
Who
get some of
knows?
that. All right. So you have this whey protein, and then, but you were talking about this is part also the milk fat globule is in this stuff as well.
Yeah, so in milk, right? I think that's the best way to think about this. The fat has to be organized in a certain way to allow the fat to not just settle off the top, right? Like oil and water, they don't mix well. And so in milk, the fat is organized into a globule. And this globule is surrounded by a kind of a unique tri-layer membrane, kind of holds all the fat inside. But this membrane itself is a very unique membrane, and it has a lot of different proteins and lipids in it that are unusual in their bioactive properties, nutritionally speaking. So healthy membrane surrounding this ball of fat in milk. And through the processing steps to get down into whey protein isolate and WPPC, the two kind of brother products that I work with, the WPPC ends up getting enriched in the membrane, not necessarily the fat, but the ratio of total fat to fat that is phospholipids from the membrane gets enriched. And along with that, so do all of those special proteins that we find big interest in that milk fat globule membrane. Kind of a happy accident is like how I like to think about it. It wasn't intended, but we noticed it as whey protein isolate production increased.
This was amazing. So I was reading your abstract. I mean, like you appear to be a very big dude, right? And I can't imagine you with these mice, working with these mice. Okay. I don't see this in you, man. I'm like, what? No cows on your campus, or what's the story? You went with the mice. So what's the story with these mice? I mean, I don't know. Were they like white, or what color were the mice?
They were black brown mice. They're the strain ID or the common term we use is called black sixes. It's a very common
black sixes.
Yeah,
Okay.
very common mouse used in nutritional research and many other fields of research as well. And it was the model that a lab I was working with had already been using, and to try to keep things simple, we took their model and adapted it for my research use.
And so you had two feed treatments essentially. The the WPPC, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then also
Correct.
a controlled chow diet. And I saw some nice effects for those mice fed the WPPC then, I thought. Can you describe them?
Yeah. So just quick correction. There was 4 diets: the control, the WPPC whole supplement, a protein diet, which had protein from WPPC, and a fat diet that had fat from WPPC, trying to get after, is it the protein or the fat that could be causing these beneficial effects? Kind of narrow it down a little more. And the result, and these diets were all isocaloric, meaning that they were balanced in every way. So any differences we can see aren't because one group got more protein or more fat. They were balanced.
Yeah, cool.
And so we saw a lot of changes in bone. That was the biggest things we noticed. We saw longer femurs, denser femurs, as well as enhanced internal bone structure. So the trabecula, kind of the architecture inside of the bone, was tighter packed, denser, and more numerous, I think was the third one. So an enhanced internal trabecular structure was caused by basically all 3 of the experimental diets. It was kind of, the protein was more associated with some specific phenotypes, and the fat was more associated with others, specifically density of the bone. But we saw increased bone in pretty much all of the experimental groups compared to the control.
So what am I going to take? I'm 65-year-old male. Okay, give me something to take. Which one are you going to recommend?
So
I'm a swimmer.
I'm not a clinician, but so I always hesitate when I recommend things to people, but there's a big emphasis on high protein. And especially for people in an older age demographic, the emphasis on protein to try and prevent things like sarcopenia is a big focus. And something that doesn't get focused on nearly as much are the fat, which we're learning more and more the fat could be a key part of this big puzzle. And WPPC has both. Right, it's got the protein and the fat.
I'm liking it.
So
circling it.
I'll kind of let you come to your own deduction on that before I get myself sued for practicing without a license.
Well, I like it. I'm going WPPC with added fat.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. I think I got that. Okay, I think that's really great. I love the dairy matrix. I love that whole story, and I thought it was really, and congratulations. That must have been a brutal competition. We'll talk about the competitions a little more. Okay, and so then now I'm looking right above you, and Brooke is right above you. Okay, so we're going to go with Brooke now, and of course Brooke is at Michigan. Well, was at Michigan State. She's now at UC Davis in the DVM PhD program. She worked for Adam Locke at Michigan State. You, Brooke, you won the undergraduate student oral contest, original research and independent study. So was that a big contest as well? Were a lot of undergraduates in that, or?
There were a few of us, more than I was expecting. I don't know the exact number, but all of the ones that I got the pleasure to see were amazing. So
it's really hard to win these competitions, and was Adam he's a friend of mine, so we can bust on Adam. Was he any help at all? Did he just show up to your talk and you're like, hey, there's Adam, I haven't seen him in a month? What was the story? Did he help you?
Oh yeah, he was amazing. I always see him in the back. He's always unwrapping some snack and disrupting that. No, I'm kidding. He's amazing. He's so supportive, always shows up to all of my presentations with the whole clan. They're all there every time. So it's a great team to be a part of.
So he was behaving himself. We had him. He was very popular podcast guy. We interviewed him, and he's got a fascinating story. So you're feeding, I was really, this was kind of interesting. So this was the whole animal study feeding. I know Adam's interested. Looks like you're comparing 18.0 from basically maybe 18.1 from high oleic soybeans in a trial. So were you out there in the barn and stuff and yuppity up? Yes.
Yep, of course. It was a crossover trial, so we had two-week periods and used quite a few cows. I think 32 total. So yeah, it was in January. It was cold. We were feeding the soybeans, but they seemed to love them and they seemed to outperform the fat supplement. So that was really cool to see. Very application based.
Yeah. Well, so you had some nice results in that. And then was Barry Bradford kind of trying to steal your cows all the time? How'd you keep Barry Bradford from stealing your cows? Like I just heard, Brooke, those are my cows. No, these are mine. Okay.
He was doing a lot of dry cow and a lot of transition stuff at the time. So my mid-lactation cows were okay at the time.
Oh, you're dead. Okay. Well, you got to watch that Bradford. He'll steal in the middle of the night. You don't know what's going on there. But So just give us a summary. So you switched up with the high oleic acid soybeans, and it looks like you got a little boost in the milk production, or what was the main takeaway on that study?
Yeah, for sure. So we've done a lot of work on this high oleic soybean. It's had some great results with our milk fat production, and even some health benefits as well. But we really wanted to see, all these people were asking for our recommendations, like, can we really just put it in place of our fat supplement? Yeah. So we designed this study where we were balancing for our 18 carbons, just changing if it was from the high oleic soybean or just a commercially available fat supplement, which was primarily stearic based. And we found an increase in milk fat, milk production, like overall fluid yield, obviously energy corrected and fat corrected milk, and a pretty drastic feed efficiency and reduced costs as well. So it was pretty cool to see. And of course, Dr. Locke was really excited about it as well.
Yeah, it's really nice when you get some nice results, right? So that's, negative results can be hard, right? But it's nice when you get nice results, And Savitha, you also had some nice results as well, right? With your
postbiotics.
Postbiotics. And I'm like, okay, what the heck is that? I know all about prebiotics, and then I'm reading postbiotics, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to ask it. So I don't understand, you're feeding postbiotics to these cows, right?
Yes.
And let me try to find your sheet. Here it is. And what was interesting about your stuff is you were the winner of the 3-minute Thesis challenge, which is also a very popular contest. I think there was probably a bunch of people in that one as well, right?
Yeah, I think there were around the finalists was 6-7 people there, but I'm not sure of how many people, really wanted to compete. And we were 6 or around 7 finalists. We were requested to send a pitch of our, 1-minute pitch video and also research summary.
You had to make a 1-minute pitch video?
Yes. And I think we have to send that.
Is it like Survivor? They send Survivor. The TV show Survivor, you got to send in a video. Was it that type of thing? Did you have to do something crazy to get it selected, or you just stayed inside the lanes?
I didn't know. I just had to record myself for a minute, giving some strong pitch, and then, attach my research summary along with my CV. And then I received an email, hey, you are finalist, show up to the ADSA for the, finals there.
So are you good at talking and stuff, or how did that work? Was you just good? Are you in sales? I mean, what is the story?
No, actually, this is my first time attending ADSA.
No way.
And I wasn't really sure, what to expect type thing. And I saw this post in LinkedIn, 3-minute thesis challenge. And I went to my advisor. I'm like, this looks something, interesting. I felt this is a good platform to showcase my skills. And then I'm like, okay, let me do that. Given that I'm already done with my projects, I had all my data. I thought it's a really good, platform for me.
Yeah. So you're feeding a postbiotics.
Postbiotics.
Okay. We've all heard about prebiotics, but now we're onto the postbiotics. And so can you explain what a postbiotic was?
Yes, postbiotics, these are kind of a next generation feed additives. And, these are fermentation byproducts of the probiotic bacteria. These are basically an inanimate microbe or its, components that can still provide benefits to the cows. And I worked basically with the transition dairy cows, that's really a critical period around the cowing. And when these cows go through a lot of metabolic stress, and my project was really can we improve their performance, see some benefits in the immune system by supplementing these postbiotics to them. And I think we supplemented around 25 grams of this postbiotic top dressed, and we had a completely randomized block design, and I worked with 63 dairy cows in that trial.
Yeah, that's pretty. I like that. Do you know a little statistics? It sounds like you understand some statistics based on your experimental design there.
Yeah, I mean, you were asking about the statistical power or?
No, I just thought that was kind of nice. So it's always nice when people understand statistics, particularly in animal science. So you have a good understanding of statistics based on your experimental design there. And you saw a nice response. Is it with Cargill? Did you work with Cargill? I see there's a Cargill author on this thing.
Yes. Yeah. This is a Cargill product, and they've been working with Saccharomyces-based products a lot. But the product I worked is like prototype. It's kind of blend of the Saccharomyces, the reshaped fermentation product, along with the essential oil. It's a prototype postbiotic, which I was testing in my cows.
So we
got some really cool results, like the product, improved the performance of the cows and all.
How did you approach that 3 minutes? You just spoke for. I said, how did you approach that 3 minutes? You just spoke for 5 minutes. Okay, what's the story?
That's the most challenging part. That's a very challenging part. The time that's tricky, and also that they had a set of rules that you have to not use scientific jargons. It has to be as simple that you need to explain. Consider you're explaining this to a layman, something like that. I'm like, oh my god, that's kind of a little bit challenging for me, to put all these year-long work in 3 minutes is a bit
pretty good. Yeah. Well, you have a nice voice, and you're very clear and understandable, and so I bet you could have got that done. Did you have to speak faster than you wanted to? Did you put it on 1.5x speed, or how'd you do that?
I don't know. I was telling myself not to be, speed at the, on the stage, because I want people to understand what I'm telling. I feel like that really helped. So I don't think so. I was speeding.
Oh, yeah. All right. So Tessa, you're last on this thing, okay? And Tessa, the president always goes last, Tessa. That's how it is, okay? You have to introduce everybody, and then the president comes on the stage. And Tessa. Okay, so let me get something straight. You're a pre-vet. Are you already in vet school, or are you a pre-vet?
Nope. So I just submitted my application September. So I'll graduate undergrad in May, and we'll find out in around February.
What'd your essay talk about? Your Holstein steers or what,
No, not the Holstein steers.
Oh, darn. Nothing about the steers in your essay?
No, they did not make the cut.
But you, again, this was pretty undergraduate student oral contest winner in dairy foods. So how'd you flip over to dairy foods? I thought you would have done dairy production, because it sounds like you're interested in veterinary medicine and production and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I actually ended up working at the USDA kind of last December, kind of through the annual meeting. So I was working in the food safety lab. So I kind of had food on my mind, and I love dairy products. I love cheese and ice cream. So I kind of looked into a topic that fit into that.
Well, you got to get into this whey protein stuff that Mitchell's got. I think we got to switch it up here, I mean, but you got into this. Okay. So, but you also work for Alta. So you can't, what do you just work for? Are you moonlighting at Alta or moonlighting at the USDA or all of the above?
I just get involved in everything.
Were you ever working for Alta?
Summer of 2024, I think.
Oh, so you got more than one summer in your life. Okay, so that's how that works. Okay, so you were talking about PFAS, and I think PFAS kind of went from no one knew what the heck it is to everybody knows what it is now, a forever chemical, and there's a lot of concern about that. So tell me, describe that. You won the competition on your essay about PFAS, and it looked like to me that were you doing research on PFAS and at that point? Okay, so you conceived the idea, I want to give a talk on PFAS and went for it.
Yeah, so for the undergrad kind of portion, you can pick a paper that you basically kind of do a lit review of, and you kind of gather a bunch of different information and then present that. So that's what I did. I grabbed a paper from New Mexico State University and then kind of a couple other papers to piece together some of the background of things that we had about PFAS being in dairy products.
So was that a big competition? Did you have to beat out a lot of people or what?
I think there was roughly kind of a handful. I don't know the exact number either, but there was a few.
Were you nervous?
Yeah, I was definitely a little nervous. That was my first kind of presentation in front of a larger group, I would say. I grew up doing research and did science fair and stuff at my state science fair, but being in front of a crowd and doing more of a talk like that was a little more of an undertaking.
What was your approach to make sure you were on time? I mean, Savitha, I'm just going to say what it looks like. Okay. Savitha was like, how did you stay on time? Were you worried about staying on time?
I was worried about staying on time. I was mostly worried about staying under time. I don't know how Savitha did it in 3 minutes because I had my full 12 minutes used up by the time I was done presenting, but kind of just winged it, I guess.
You winged it. Did you memorize every word or what?
No, definitely not.
Just showed up and went, huh? So what was your takeaway from all that study you did on PFAS? What was your takeaway? So you were looking at PFAS and dairy products. I mean, the stuff we eat, right?
Yeah. So it was very interesting to see kind of how little research there was, honestly. So it was really hard to find the articles that I was kind of picking out from, and a lot smaller data sets. So there's some research out there, but really not the most complete. So trying to compile all of that together and give a clear presentation that we don't have the most information about it, but it's kind of a really important topic up and coming in dairy foods, I would say. And just, being more aware about it was very interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure where we are with forever chemicals in terms of trying to figure out there's a lot of stuff that's showing up in the environment right now that we didn't think was going to be in the environment, and so it's going to be there's a lot of work to be done in the future on all that stuff. Mitchell, I want to ask you about your preparation. You seem like a guy who everybody must have prepared. You don't win this contest unless you prepare. But did you think about so what's this? Why did you enter, Mitchell? Okay. Like, why did you enter? What was your motivation? Was it money? Was it the other guy in the lab who's so annoying? You want to be better than him? What was it?
I didn't even know there was a monetary prize for this.
Is there money for this stuff?
Yeah. I got a little $250 award or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, I'm not complaining one bit about this.
Yeah, right. Money's
so
good,
that
right?
definitely wasn't the motivation per se. For me, the motivation was both extrinsic and intrinsic. My professor really wanted me to present at ADSA. It's the big conference for us, right? We do dairy research. It's the American Dairy Science Association. This is our platform. So she really wanted me to get up and talk about it. And I was also really excited to share what I've been working so hard on with other people. That's kind of what gets me up in the morning, is taking science that I do or that other people are doing and sharing it with a larger audience. I think that's kind of the whole purpose of science. And so those were really the two motivating factors for me and why I ended up entering the ADSA competition.
Are you a PhD student?
Yes, I'm a PhD student.
And when are you going to graduate?
So I'm actually going on a deployment with the Army in a couple of weeks here.
Oh, no.
So I'll be gone for a year, and then I'm going to come back and probably have a year, maybe a little bit longer, and then I'll finish it up. If everything goes according to plan magically, like it never really does, but we'll see how that goes. So 2 years.
So can you tell us where you're going to be deployed?
I can say Middle East.
Oh, okay. That's a long way away from home, huh?
Yeah, I'm excited for it. It's something I've been training since I was 17 years old to do. So I'm kind of excited to do it.
What is your specific job in the National? I know you're a lieutenant. What's your specific job?
Yeah, I'm a platoon leader of a HIMARS rocket platoon. So those trucks with wheels with the big rocket on the back.
Yeah.
That's kind of my unit. So we do long range precision artillery.
Oh my goodness gracious, that sounds complicated. Oh my. Well, stay safe, okay? Stay safe over there. Yeah, we appreciate all of that. My grandfather fought in World War I. My father fought in World War II. My brother's a retired colonel in the Air Force, and I have a niece and nephew in the Air Force.
Wow, so quite the military family. Impressive.
Yeah, it's quite the military family. So Brooke, the pressure was on because you can't come in second place if you're out of Adams Launch Lab. I mean, it's over. Did you feel a lot of pressure just because you're a Michigan State person or from an Adams Lab, or how was that? And what was your thought about preparing?
Honestly, would say that there wasn't a lot of pressure. I think that afterwards, he's always like, "Oh, you did so well. I knew you were going to win." But like beforehand, he's always like you did great. Like your work that you're doing you've been working so hard. It doesn't matter what happens. Like I was just there to share what I've been doing because it is long hours, and I'm sure everybody knows working in dairy, it's hard work. And it's just exciting to like when it finally all comes together and you get to share that with people and like see it applied in the field is really cool. Preparation's really fun. We have a great team, and the grad students are great. The postdocs are great. And so lots of hours spent with them redoing stats and putting together presentations and having them ask me questions and things like that, and asking them questions. So honestly, the preparation is just as fun as the conference, and it's just a treat to be with that team.
How did you get all that done and also be an undergraduate at Michigan State, right?
Yeah, I've been a part of his lab for almost all of my undergraduate, but during the bulk of all of the prep for ADSA, I actually graduated in December. So I had a little bit of free time, but of course that was all filled by more research and other projects and things like that. So always things going on, but that's academia.
So how does it work? You're a DVM PhD, which is a nice combination. Is that a specific program that was offered by UC Davis, or did you have to apply to that program as well, or not?
Yeah, it's its own program. So I had to apply to the vet school, and I also had to apply separately at the same time for the dual degree program. Quite a few schools have it. UC Davis has been around a little bit longer than some of the other schools, but they give you a lot of support, like integrating the two programs, which is one of the reasons I wanted to join it. If I'm going to be in it for 8 years, I might as well have all of that support and more. So
you're gonna be older. You're gonna be older than Mitchell by the time you're done. I mean, this is gonna be. Look at that. Okay. You better like science. It's a long haul, right?
Feeling attacked over here, Doctor.
You're gonna deploy, and then you're gonna come back and go back to work. And,
it's about the journey, not the destination, right?
Exactly. That's my thought process.
I digress, but this is Dairy Digressions. But Mitchell, I wanted to ask you, are you gonna be a faculty member someday, or what is as I digress? Okay, tell me.
That is a bridge I will cross when I get to it.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not sure. Maybe I'll go into industry. Maybe I'll do a postdoc and try to be a professor. There are appealing aspects of both.
Yeah.
But
you seem to really, enjoy your science, and Brooke, everybody here kind of enjoys your science. You can just see it. And Savitha, I was stalking you on LinkedIn, and you have a major statement. I am a dairy nutritionist, and my door is open. And darn it all, you need to hire me because I'm going to feed your cows. Is that because you seem to be like ready to roll? Are you going to get a PhD, or are you just going to get your master's, or what are you going to do?
I'm graduating this summer 2026, and I'm actually actively looking for some positions in industry. So PhD, not right now, maybe in the future. I just want to take a break from academics and go to industry and actually do some work, get some money.
Get some money, right? Get out into industry. That industry experience is really important. Yeah. And so dairy nutritionists, they like walk on water, right? You know that, right? That's a pretty good. I don't know who they fire. If they're not happy, if the farm's not happy, I don't know who. I think they fire the nutritionist first and then the veterinarian. So Brooke is done too. I mean, so, but and then Tessa's done too. All three are going to get fired, okay, by some dairy who's mad at you, and then Mitchell's going to be rolling, okay. So maybe you guys should talk to Mitchell about dairy foods. All right, they don't fire the foods guy, do they? When the cows aren't milking right, that's not how it works. But the vets go, and then the nutritionists go, and you'll have to be good. But enough about getting fired. Let's not talk about that. But I forgot to ask Brooke. Brooke, are you going to be a large animal veterinarian or what?
We'll see. I probably am leaning towards small animal, but
don't. Oh my God! What if Adam hears that?
Yeah, maybe cut that out. No, I'm kidding. I think that this dairy background has opened a lot of doors for me, and I can go whatever way I want. But small animals have always had my heart, and I feel like I could see myself going that way. But again, that's 8 years down the road, so we have plenty of time.
I think you should go into acting. You know, you're a natural actress, right? Did you ever do any acting ever in your entire life, high school or college?
Oh, I was in musicals in high school, but I was a dancer, so.
Oh, I pegged it. Okay. Tessa, are you going to work on large animals or small animals?
I haven't decided yet. And
oh my gosh.
My future isn't decided yet either, but I'm thinking for sure mixed.
Next, this is Dairy Digressions. You know, you can lie on this podcast. You just say, "Oh, I'm going to work on dairy cows." Okay, mixed. So what? Mixed, like, oh, you mean you're going to work on horses and pigs and beef cows and dairy cows? That kind of mixed, or something else?
I think it'll be beef or dairy cows and pets. But
and pets. Yeah. What about reptiles?
I actually worked at an aquarium this past summer, so I do know a little bit about exotics. But
sweet. Time out, Tessa. You told me you worked for Alta this past summer and the USDA, and now you
2024 was Alta. This most recent summer was USDA and an aquarium. Yes.
And when did the aquarium happen?
This most recent summer, like 2025.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Why did you become president of is this a stepping stone to, I don't know, congressional representative, the presidency? I don't know. Why did you become president of the undergraduate division?
So I have upperclassmen really convinced me that I should try it and go for it. So I gave my speech on the Monday morning and went to the awards luncheon and found that I was elected president. So it just kind of worked out, I guess.
What was your speech about for that?
It's really just I think it was just tell them about yourself and what you see in the future for ADSA. And then they ask you a question and it's pretty painless.
Oh, yeah. Are you a good speech giver?
I guess I must be to be elected, but that was for the other universities to decide.
Wow, that's pretty exciting. So you're going to give up that gig when you go to vet school then?
Yeah, we'll be done in June at the next annual meeting.
How many vet schools did you apply to?
Just one, Iowa State.
Oh, just Iowa State, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, UC Davis was what? You too good for UC Davis? Is that what this is all about?
Nope, it's just a little too far from home for me.
Oh, too far from home, yeah. So, Mitchell, how long have you been Mitchell, can you tell us how long have you been a member of ADSA? Is this a new thing for you? Are you always a member? Or how many meetings have you been to? Or what's the history on this?
So this conference was my first time at ADSA as well. I'd heard about it in my first year, but I didn't go my first year. I didn't have very much to present then. But my second year, we went to ADSA, and that was when I had that awesome experience. So I guess I'm a brand new this year ADSA member. Looking forward to continuing it. It was definitely a fun conference.
So you liked it? Did you find it interesting or what?
I found it very interesting, especially because of the diversity that was there. I'm one of those people, like my undergraduate was microbiology, and then I had a certificate in fermented foods and beverages, and then I did more micro research, and then I got rotated into food science, and now I'm doing food systems engineering and nutrition research. So my background is about as crazy as my interests. Mm-hmm. And so having so many different genres and opportunities to see how dairy is involved around the world with academic research and otherwise was really interesting to me. I enjoyed the diversity very much. Mm-hmm. There was projects about calves and cow health all the way to human health and really intricate food processing. So that was what I really enjoyed about ADSA.
What did you think about it, Brooke? You went as an undergraduate, so was that the first meeting you ever been to?
It was the first national meeting I've been to. I've been to Tri-State Dairy Nutrition Conference, just a regional one. So It was definitely like a step up from that with all the diversity of topics, like Mitchell was saying. It was amazing. Like so many different things. I learned so much topics I didn't even know people studied. It was super interesting.
Did you feel lost or at all or like
a little bit? Yeah. I mean, there's just so many people and it's such a tight knit community that they're all so well welcoming, but at the same time, everybody knows everybody. So you're like, what am I doing here? But yeah, such a great welcoming community, and everybody's willing to talk to you. It's a good way to get yourself out there.
It is a nice community. And the longer you're in the community, the more people you get to know.
Yeah.
I've heard it said you can't have too big an ego when you spend a lot of your time standing in cow poop. Okay. And it's
so true.
It's so true, right? You just gotta check the ego at the door. What'd you think about it, Savitha? Was it a big meeting for you? Did you go to many of these meetings?
No, I think this is my first big national conference that I've been to, and it was really good. I did a little bit homework before I went there because some of my friends, who are doing PhDs here, they told me like there's going to be a lot of things happening. You need to, look at the abstracts, like where you want to go, which sessions that you have to be there. And I think I did that, so I was able to figure out, I have to be here for this session today, and that kind of little bit worked out. I had my calendar scheduled beforehand.
Yeah.
So that kind of little bit helped me. But I was so excited as well. As everybody else told, there's a lot of different diverse backgrounds. And to meet a lot of people in person whom I have been always followed in LinkedIn, something like that, and say a hello in person, that was really good.
Yeah, it's interesting. You guys are doing a good job selling the meeting, I'll tell you. Tessa, what do you think? So you're the president of the undergraduate division. What did you think of the meeting? It's busy when you're the president. You probably have to do stuff and make speeches, right?
Yeah, next year will definitely be a little more busy than this past year, but yeah, it was super exciting. It's awesome being undergrad. We kind of really get to meet a lot more of the other undergrads from around the country and see a lot more people that we normally don't. We have our kind of regional ADSAs, like Midwest has one, like Brooke was saying, different kind of regional conferences, but it's super cool to get everyone all together at the annual meeting.
Do you have to have plan some activities for the undergraduates and stuff?
We usually do a tour of some sort. So last year they toured a farm. This year we're kind of looking into maybe some farms or cheese production plant places in Milwaukee. And then we have our student mixer. So last year we were at 4th Street Live and did some fun stuff and had snacks and had an arcade kind of night. And so this year we're kind of planning a similar fun evening out for the undergrads.
Do the different dairy clubs compete against each other? Is that part of it too, or not?
Yeah, a little bit. So kind of like the foods presentation, like that type of stuff, we're all kind of against each other. And then we have a dairy quiz bowl too. And then we do an activities symposium. So all the undergrad clubs kind of get together and we share kind of something unique about our club. And then we can take those back to our own clubs and maybe have some new fun events or stuff like that.
Yeah. So Mitchell, do you think there's a future in these types of organizations? I mean, everything has changed and you guys are a different generation than us guys, and I remember my first meetings and I remember my first presentation. I don't know how I didn't drop over dead. My heart was racing, and I don't know how I didn't die at that thing. And you don't know anybody, and there's all these famous people, and you look around, and you're pointing at people. Oh, that's so and so, But do you think there's a future in this? Is there a future? Does your generation see any value in a society like the American Dairy Science Association? And what is the value, if there is one?
I think there is certainly value. And I think that value stems from the fact that we're all people and we still have to communicate with each other verbally at different points in our life. And those skills in communication, especially in communicating science, which has huge implications, not just for other researchers, but for improving the reputation of science and the perspective on science of the public. So an organization like ADSA that offers that platform for those oral conversations, those presentations, the face-to-face interactions, I think will always hold a sort of value, and that there will always be organizations like ADSA with these big meetings, because those interpersonal skills that are developed and nurtured at these kind of conferences, not to mention all the connections that get made, are invaluable to science.
Yeah, there's something about the three-dimensional space, and I think it's really interesting that like we can do this like this, right? And I can see you guys and hear you guys, but there's something about being in the same room and just, sharing the same atmosphere with somebody, that's really kind of different and important. It's interesting. Go ahead.
I was going to say that, or sharing the atmosphere with 100 people in a room when you're presenting. That's a pretty tough thing to replicate.
Do you think, Brooke, are you going to join to the when you're a DVM, do the DVMs have their own organizations you can join, or how does that work for the DVM? Are you already in some DVM organizations at this point?
There's quite a few. I'm joining a few right now. I know for sure next summer I'll be they have a specific veterinary scientist symposium. So all veterinary students that are engaged in research, since that is an important but sometimes undervalued part of veterinary medicine, just keeping up on the constant improvements that research is offering. But yeah, there's veterinary organizations for everything you can imagine. There's been a part of evidence-based medicine, and every species you can imagine has their own organization, and they all have their own summer conferences and things like that.
Yeah.
So lots of places to get involved.
Yeah. Do you think, given your undergraduate experience, that most veterinary students probably did not have, I would imagine, because you worked for Adam for 4 years. It's going to be interesting as you go through and you look at different research programs, and you have a lot of expertise in research already. It's a very strong degree, the DVM PhD, but you can't practice if you got a DVM PhD. You have to become a faculty member, right? You're not going to practice with a DVM PhD.
No, yeah, that's the goal. I love teaching and I love research, and those are both things that came about in college when I've known I wanted to be a vet for my whole life. So I just kind of started adding them together and seeing what kind of career I can make with that. But I think research is so important, and having that background really, it's been helping me in my classes already. It's been helping me communicate to owners, to other academics, things like that. So it's great.
So Savitha, what do you think? So what do you think about ADSA? You for sure, if you're going to be in the dairy industry and dairy nutritionist, this is going to be an important meeting for you for a long time, I would think.
Yeah, it was really an important meeting for me in a lot of aspects. For example, to connect and network with the people. And also, I feel like we do a lot of silage work around summer, and it's kind of, escape from some actual projects and, take a break, go for the conference, it's like a refreshing break or something like that to be as well. And it was really good.
So did you maintain, are you still maintaining your membership? It's like $10 or something.
Yes, I am.
Okay. A couple of Starbucks coffees and you got it covered, right? Yeah. You get a lot for that $10. Yeah. That's a pretty good price. I mean, that's one thing I'll say about, I'm a member of a lot of different organizations, and the American Dairy Science Association has really done a good job at keeping the cost of membership low. And they really are interested in, particularly for undergraduates and grad students, to make it affordable. And that's just super important. Well, you guys are really plugging it. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, they do had some, career with the membership benefits. We get some discounted prices for, the career luncheon with the industry people, which were really good. I felt those were really helpful to talk with the people from the industry, to have, put our questions directly to them. And those were kind of really helpful.
Yeah. Did you ever try any research, Tessa? Did you ever work in a lab and do some science? You work with Alta.
Yeah, so my USDA work was pretty much all based in the lab. So we did a lot of cecal contents from chickens and things like that. And then I work at the dairy farm right now with grad students on research trials with them.
And you're at Iowa State. You're not out there with Lance, are you?
Yeah.
Why are you laughing? What's so funny about Lance? He's a good friend of mine. Okay, do you know Lance Baumgart?
Mostly I work with his graduate students, but I've seen him a couple times doing mammary biopsies and stuff.
So do you like the research out there at the dairy?
Yeah, I find it really interesting. It's a really awesome, I love just being able to do chores in the morning and then head to class and have the rest of my day. So it works out well for me.
Yeah, that's one thing. A lot of times it fits with the class schedule, right? Because you can do stuff before class and then go on from there. All right, so we're going to have to wrap up pretty soon. You guys have been a great group. First of all, I'd like to first of all, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and I'm going to kind of go around, and if there's anything else you'd like to mention, I want you to make sure this is your opportunity to mention it. So again, we've done a lot of digressing, and so you guys are obviously outstanding people, and you're part of the winners of our various contests, and you've said a lot of really great things about the meeting. So Mitchell, first of all, is there anything else you'd like to say about your experiences with the contest, with the American Dairy Science Association, or anything else before I ask a follow-up question?
I think about the conference itself, I don't really have anything to say. It was a really cool conference. I enjoyed going.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked the fact that it was in Louisville. I got to go to all the distilleries. I don't know if everybody here is over 21, but I definitely enjoyed that. That was pretty cool. I'm a big bourbon drinker myself.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. If you were doing what you're doing now, and I don't know how you you caught the research bug, you obviously like research. So I'm going to if you were doing what you're doing now, and I'm going to take the Army gig off too, okay?
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Okay. What would you be doing?
I think I would probably have tried to leverage my undergraduate degrees, which was microbiology and a little bit of food science in there, and try to work for some other agricultural sector for food safety. I think would have been kind of where I went into microbial safety. Or I was actually this close to taking the LSAT to go to law school before I found out like one of those moments where I got like redirected back towards research.
Wow, law school, huh?
Yep.
I was ambulance chaser lawyer kind of guy, or what?
I was always thinking a patent lawyer would be really cool to like kind of circle back to research a little bit. I know you kind of took it off the table, but it's always been a core passion of mine. So any kind of future I imagine myself in would somehow be involved in research or new fields, product in development, new things. Yeah. Very curious guy.
So, Brooke, if you hadn't gotten into vet school, you'd be back with Adam, or what would happen to you if you hadn't gotten into the vet school? You'd be like, I got to hear this one. Or after you quit vet school, when you get tired of all the stupid exams, what are you going to do with your life? Okay.
Well, I mean, if I didn't have to work, I would just travel full time. I think that would be a great use of my time. Yeah. But if I had to work, I don't know, I'd probably teach or something. I like interacting with people. I think I would be bored if I just had like an office job or something like that. So it would have to be very interactive.
Yeah. The dairy industry is great for travel. Mm-hmm. The only continent that doesn't have dairy cows on is Antarctica. Okay. So you're not going to get to Antarctica. Okay. But I'll never forget, there was this 1 year period where I was on every continent except Antarctica talking about dairy cows. You can go everywhere talk about dairy cows.
That's so cool.
It's so cool. And then did 2 sabbaticals, one in New Zealand and one in Australia. One in New Zealand and one in Ireland. And it's just a great industry if you love travel, because all these cows everywhere, and it's really a great, and I love to travel too. We just got back from Italy, my wife and I could write a travel blog, but I won't. I'm digressing. So you would be a dairy nutritionist and travel the world. You would just be a traveler.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all you need, right? You could be like, you always have to remember, if you're going to travel, you got to do it. Well, it helps to do it when you're young, because all you need is a backpack and a train ticket, and you can do some serious traveling, So, Savitha, what would you do if you weren't a dairy nutritionist? And how did you get interested in dairy nutrition? Was your dad a dairy nutritionist? Your mom a dairy nutritionist?
So none of my family, they were from a dairy background. I'm the first person. I have my bachelor's in veterinary science, and that's when I got, more curious about the nutrition. I really liked it. So I figured out that I wanted to do research rather than, being a vet there. But if I weren't in a school, I think I would have been practicing veterinary back in my country.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, you can. So where are you from? What country you said back?
I'm from India.
Oh, you're from India. It's the number, there's more cows that's the number 1 dairy producing country in the world.
Yes.
What does it do with that?
And I think in a developing country like India, we are not so much into, I can put it in this way, not a lot of research is happening based on production, because the cows there don't produce much based on their genetics and all. They produce like 10, 15 kilos. It's not, it's like very less compared to the cows that produce like 50, 60 liters here, right? So, but still we are number one. That means we have quite a big population there.
Yeah, I'll give you 3 minutes to convince Brooke to go to India on her first travel thing, okay? Why should Brooke go to India?
It's a very good place you should visit,
It's on my list.
A lot of historical monuments you guys will really enjoy.
And so it's totally on my list to go there. That is so cool. I always tell people when I tell them, because I teach dairy science to freshmen, I said, India is the number one milk producing country in the world. I always say everybody owns a cow in India, but maybe that's not true. I don't know, but I say it anyways. But you got a lot of cows in India. For sure.
Yes, that's the point.
Yeah.
For sure.
So Tessa, if you go ahead.
No, I was just telling, imagine, the cows are producing less still if India can, rank first, like the population is more.
Yes. So Tessa, you're going to get into vet school, so I'm not going to be rude and say, what are you going to do? I wouldn't say that. Okay. That's mean. All right. So you're going to get in. Okay.
Hopefully.
So you're going to get in, but what other types of careers did you think about at this point?
I've thought about kind of consulting or being more of like a consultant. I feel like that kind of piggybacks almost off of veterinary medicine and kind of combines like all those roles, just being like the reasoning voice for the dairy farmer, I think would be interesting, and still problem solving and being on farm and getting to talk to producers and stuff. That's what I would probably do.
Well, that's fantastic. You guys have been a really good group, and I really do appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. And every time I do this podcast with the members of the graduate student division, undergraduate division, I always come away really just like amazed, because you guys are really good speakers and really great representatives of the dairy science community and the American Dairy Science Association. I wasn't so polished in my day, but it's been fantastic. And I really appreciate you taking the time, and congratulations on your wins in these contests. It's very difficult to win these things. It's very difficult. And I know you must have given phenomenal presentations, and I will encourage others who maybe are listening to this podcast to enter these competitions. And it's just a really good exercise and sort of professional development. And I would encourage you to attend the meeting as you can. And I'm getting ready to retire soon, and I can't imagine what my career would have been like if I never was a member of the American Dairy Science Association and had all those connections. And my wife is always saying, man, you know everybody. And I'm like, yeah, I do know everybody. Okay. And the reason I know everybody is because of these meetings and these connections, and so you guys are just great spokesmen. So thank you so much for taking the time speaking with us. It's just been an awesome conversation. All right, everybody, that brings us to the end of our show. If you enjoy Dairy Digressions, be sure to like, subscribe, rate us, and spread the word to a friend or colleague. If you have feedback for us, please let us know at ADSA@ADSA.org. For show notes and more episodes of Dairy Digressions and learn about everything else, go to ADSA@ADSA.org. Until next time, thank you very much for listening. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
At Dairy Digressions, we talk to the people behind the latest discoveries in the dairy industry. If you would like to connect with those people, then the American Dairy Science Association is for you. ADSA is where researchers, educators, producers, and leaders in the dairy industry come together. Join us and become a member today at ADSA.org.